video the other week on Nick de Vries possibly losing his seat mid-season, I had mentioned that Yuki Tsunoda has been very impressive this season, and I wanted to speak a pretty bit more about that. First off, he was out helping with the cleanup in Faenza after the recent flooding, which absolute top bloke right there. Things like that is what we all love to see. But Faenza aside, Tsunoda was impressive after the Bunsan debut in Bahrain a couple years back, P9 in his first race after he started P13, making it look like he was out on a nice Sunday drive, a nice calm drive, when in actual fact he was overtaking established world championship winning names like Kimi Räikkönen and Fernando Alonso, both of whom at that time had been in F1 almost as long as Tsunoda had been alive, or well, around F1. They did both have breaks in the middle of that, but you know what I mean. But then as time went on and as the season went on, he had his moments where he was really good. Baku, if you ignore his qualifying crash, and Hungary stood out in particular, and Abu Dhabi as well, where he had another strong race, and on the last lap, while everyone was all eyes on the front with Hamilton and Verstappen, Tsunoda was sneaking his way up into P4 ahead of Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes, and that's currently his best finish in F1 so far. But he had some not so good moments, in particular the crash in Imola qualifying, and somehow managing to achieve the absolutely impossible and hit a wall at Paul Ricard. In all, if you ask me, there wasn't that consistency that racing drivers kind of tend to like to have, and that followed into last year where, look, I've said it before, I'll say it again, we all ken it, the AT03 was not a very good car. I mean, come on, we all ken how good Gasly can be, but even he couldn't even manage to get much sensors on. Again, the moments were there. He had a decent result P7 at Imola, and he was also P8 at the opening race in Bahrain, and he had a couple P10s in Spain and in the USA at Kota. But again, the lack of consistency remained, and the not so good moments as well, kind of slightly more embarrassing, off straight out of the pits in Canada. He was off in the tricky conditions of Singapore as well, but mind you, even like the Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen were going off that particular night, so he can maybe be slightly forgiven for that one. Look, all this has culminated into the fact that coming into this season, I didn't really think much of Tsunoda. My expectations for him were fairly low, as it was for the hail of AlphaTauri, let's be honest. And part of that has been due to Gasly leaving the team, my low expectations for Tsunoda, not knowing how he would do, how ready and capable it would be of stepping into that team leader role, or rather of taking the challenge to de Vries in that particular battle to be the #1 driver at AlphaTauri and winning it. I think a lot of us expected de Vries to be coming out on top in that particular inter-team battle, as I said in my video on Said Dutchman, but now his seat is potentially in question, and Tsunoda has proved my expectations very much wrong, and that consistency that hasn't really been yonder for them the last 12 seasons is very much there this year. He's been very consistent so far with 3 P11s and 12 P10s in a car that, like last year's, it ain't very good. He's been up there in the mid-pack in all 5 races so far this year, fighting at the bottom end of the top 10 to try and score a point or two, or be very close to scoring a point or two, which I will say, given my expectations for this team in general were quite low after pre-season testing, I did not expect that, so round of applause to Yuki Tsunoda. Seriously, what happened to this team? They were scrapping with Alpine for P5 12 years ago. Now look at him. But it feels like Tsunoda is finally starting to come into his aid in F1. And he's now in his 3rd season. He's grown a lot as a driver coming into this year. And I do think part of that has been from losing Gasly as a teammate in a roundabout way. He no longer has that experienced benchmark beside him. He's now the more experienced F1 driver at the team and has to step up and prove that he has the speed and the consistency and can get the results, and ultimately can be the lead driver within the team. In a way, Gasly leaving AlphaTauri has given Tsunoda a kick up the arse that he, to be honest, if you ask me, kind of needed. That's gone from something where we didn't really ken how Tsunoda would do and would handle the shift, to it proving to be something that's been quite beneficial for Yuki's F1 career. Of course, as we know, AlphaTauri tends to be a bit of a proving ground for the Red Bull camp, and could he one day go on to drive for Red Bull? Honestly, what canes? I think give him a couple more years and yes, he could, but whether Red Bull want to gain that route or not is another matter entirely. There's other Red Bull juniors like his countryman and current F2 driver Ayumu Iwasa, and there's also his good friend and current Super Formula driver Liam Lawson, both of whom are on the cards for replacing De Vries should he be replaced mid-season. What do you make of Yuki Tsunoda so far this season? And do you think he could find himself driving for Red Bull sometime in the future? Could he be on for replacing Checo at the end of 2024 if Red Bull want to go that route? I'm not saying he will be replaced, but if they do decide to go that route, could Tsunoda be on the cards? Let me know your thoughts, do it in the comments below, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.